teams. And that's not staying outside at night. No, sir. That's where we come in.
P&R Entry Doors is your one-stop source for installation and repairs. As an official Midland garage door dealer, we have everything you need for any size garage in any situation. PNREntryDoors.com.
Listen to this radio station on the radio.com app. Discover and enjoy your favorite music, news, and talk radio from live stations across the country. Listen anywhere on all mobile and home devices with the radio.com app.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
That's right. We're here with Randy Kuhlman and Neven Mulholland. We're talking sports as we do every Friday at this time. Urban Meyer applied for my job here, but we turned him down. Didn't think he had the talent. So he's going to the Jacksonville Jaguars instead. Is this new? Is this big news to either of you?
I think so. I mean, he's never been in the NFL. You know, he's jumping, famous college coach in the NFL, which is it'll be interesting to see if he can get it done there.
He's got it done everywhere he's went. Has a phenomenal record. It'll be very interesting to see how it does play out, along with, he's had these health issues in the past. But yeah, I think it's big news.
Yeah, it is big news as far as I'm concerned. And I can't help but wonder if he's going to get this done as far as turnarounds are concerned. I wondered about his selection of Jacksonville Jaguars. They have not been a good team. I realize they're supposed to get Trevor Lawrence in the draft,
right? And
that's going to be big, of course. But what other team? Neven, you and I and Randy were talking about it a few months ago that Urban might go to another big college opening, but I can't remember.
Well,
Texas
was one. A lot of people thought he was waiting for USC to open up.
Yeah, USC. Absolutely.
And that didn't happen.
Believe it or not, that Jaguar job's about as good as it gets right now. I mean, it's a perfect storm. He doesn't walk into anything without really doing his homework. He's not going anywhere where he's set up to lose for the money. I mean, you get the first draft pick. You got another draft pick after that in the first round, I believe.
Yeah,
he's got a significant commitment for an upgrade in facilities. They got cap room deluxe. I think it's like $70-some million of cap room. So he gets to form this team.
And the only way they can go is up. Because
no, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, you're absolutely right.
It's a low bar.
Yeah.
So and I haven't heard what the terms were of his contract, but I gotta believe he demanded a pretty good deal.
Yeah, he cleaned up.
Yeah.
I saw they showed on ESPN this morning a list of the colleges he's coached at. Been head coach on Baylor, Utah. I didn't know he was at Utah.
Oh yeah,
Utah. And then he went to Florida.
Yeah, and every one of the schools he went to, including Ohio State, to coach, he improved their record dramatically.
Yeah,
he's about 80% winning percentage.
Yeah.
But there's only two coaches that have a higher winning percentage than he does. One of them is Newt Rockne, and the other is Adolph Rupp, and they're from another time, another era.
Adolph Rupp's basketball, but Nick Saban's got it.
Leahy, I think it was the other Notre Dame coach.
Adolph Rupp, yeah, that's wrong.
Here's the thing, though, that I wonder about, because, I mean, and Utah not necessarily, but when you go to Florida or you go to Ohio State, you're at a national recruiting base there. It's easy to recruit to those places. And so he's always been at places where he's had more talent than most of his opponents. Now, when you go to the NFL, it's all about parity because of the way the draft system works and everything, free agency, everything. There's a lot more parity in the NFL. And so now it's a different ball game from a coaching standpoint. Whereas in college, you can be an average coach, but if you're a great recruiter, you're going to be very successful because you're going to hire a good offensive coordinator and good defensive coordinator. But in the NFL, it doesn't work that way. So it really comes down to coaching and quite honestly, a lot of luck too. Because, I mean,
a lot of life is luck,
Oh, it is. But
good or bad, it's
it's and anymore as you watch the NFL, quite honestly. And this is no surprise, but you got to have a really good quarterback. The teams
Well,
that are really
that's-
good, Kansas City, Green Bay,
Oh yeah.
they got great quarterbacks, and the average teams, the teams that just can't get over the hump, their quarterbacks are average or poor. And so,
Steve Forbes was giving a lecture at a college auditorium one time, and one of the bright young students raised her hand when it came to be Q&A time and said, "Mr. Forbes, what's your advice to be successful in life?" And he never even hesitated. He said, "Have good parents."
yeah,
Oh, okay.
that helps.
That helps,
And throw in that flat tax, and then we're rolling.
Then we're rolling with that
Yeah,
flat
right.
tax
That
all the
flat
way.
tax.
Yeah, he came onto the scene and then vanished just as quickly, didn't he? He was there and out.
Steve Forbes,
Yeah,
Forbes magazine, you mean?
yeah.
Oh yeah, well he ran
When
for
he ran
president.
for office.
Yeah, he
that's
ran
right.
for president.
He ran for
But
president.
he's
President.
still, I mean, he's still chairman of the board of Forbes magazine.
I understand he's going to do well for the rest of his life. There's no doubt. You guys just want to pick on me.
No, actually, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Forbes in years.
Yeah,
Yeah, to be honest.
but he was all over the place there for a while.
right. I know what you're saying, and then he disappeared.
So
Kind of.
stop picking on me, Randy.
Yeah, I'm going to have to stick up for the big guy.
Anyway, any other football news we need to cover right now? We can make predictions on the Super
Well-
Bowl, but we don't even know who's in the Super Bowl yet.
Well, this weekend's going to be a great weekend for pro football with all of the playoff matchups, and you got Brady against is it Brady and
Rams.
No.
Tom Brady
Tom
is
Brady
going
and
against
Drew
Drew Brees.
Brees.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I was just thinking about Green Bay. I got him on
yeah,
my
I was
mind.
too. And then you got who's Green Bay playing? I got it.
The Rams.
They're playing the Rams, and interesting enough, the Rams, I think, are having quarterback issues now. The Goff.
Really?
Well, Goff got hurt. He wasn't having a real good year anyway, and he was the superstar 2 years ago. He got hurt, banged up a little bit. He missed the game. They brought in their backup, and I think the coach there, the young guy, what's his name? McVay, fell in love with his backup quarterback. And he actually started him the next game when Goff could have started.
Mhm.
He started the backup, and then unfortunately he got hurt in the first quarter, and they had to bring Goff back in. But so I think Rams quarterback situation is a little bit up in the air right now.
The problem with Goff is he turns the ball over. It drives coaches crazy.
Well, there was a segment on him again on ESPN this morning about his cold weather ability, and he
Mhm.
falls off dramatically when he plays in Green Bay or Chicago.
He's
They're
a
playing at
Californ-
Lambeau
he's
Field.
a-
He's,
he's
a
been in Cal-
California kid, yeah.
Exactly.
But he just he played up in Chicago through 4 interceptions. Was sacked a couple of times. It was awful. Just an awful performance.
Yeah.
But he's in warm weather area. He does much better. He's a native Californian, but so is Tom Brady. And Brady was at Boston for years.
Well, I think
That's
he
true.
kind of got used to the snow.
I think he kind of did. Yeah,
But
he kind of did.
yeah, it'll be a fun weekend for pro football if you're a big fan because there's some great matchups, and this is kind of the crunch time for these teams.
I don't know what year it was. Maybe you guys can help me. The New York Giants played the New England Patriots when the Patriots were undefeated. They were 16-0 going into the Super Bowl, and they got beat. The Giants beat them.
Is that with
And-
the
No, that was against Oakland, I think, where it was snowing and they came and cleared up.
I'm not
No,
talking about
oh.
that at all. I'm not talking.
no? I was
Anyway, Tom Coughlin, I believe, was his name.
Yeah.
And he was head coach
Giants.
of the Giants.
Yep.
Well, he came up with a theory. If you put a lot of pressure on Brady, he's going to fold. So Coughlin ran different defensive backs in all the time. He made sure his defensive line and his linebackers were rested so that they could put constant pressure on Brady. And, of course, the Giants won the Super Bowl and blew up the Patriots.
that was the
Perfect
game that the Manning
Caught the ball on
they threw it and the guy caught it behind his head or
on
something.
top of his
on
head.
top of his head, to beat the Patriots.
That's right.
Wasn't that Gronkowski that did that? Or
No,
No,
it
it
was.
was the guy from
You know
the
what? I could
Giants.
actually come up with a name if I got.
Oh, that was
lucky.
he's
the
But,
wide receiver,
Yeah, it was wide receiver.
and
um,
of course it was.
But that's true with any quarterback under pressure. And of course, Brady, who's having a
especially
great year.
with Brady though.
He
You don't
doesn't
see
run.
Mahomes folding under that sort of
But-
pressure.
Well, you don't see Brady doing it much either. I mean, he's had a great season. And
Mahomes is more mobile than
he's much
Brady.
He's
more
way
mobile.
more, and
And
so
that's-
is Lamar Jackson.
But you know
Younger.
what? You can not neutralize Mahomes, but he's much less effective. Yeah, I don't care how good he is when you get him out of the pocket and make him move.
He's-
Now he's a terrific scrambler and he's really good ad-libbing. That's why he's so successful.
Right.
But you let him sit back there, call it a day.
Yeah.
He can scramble and throw that ball down the field like a baseball.
But I'm telling you, in today's football game, it's like Kirk Cousins. If you give Kirk Cousins time for the Vikings, he'll throw the ball very, very well. If you pressure him and make him get out of that pocket under pressure, then his quality of his play really drops off.
When he's not that, he moves okay, but he's really not that mobile, and he's not good on the run, I don't think. And he's got weak hands.
Yeah.
So if you
He gets hit, he
contact,
fumbles.
yeah. But anyway.
I'm still so disappointed in Kirk Cousins as a Viking fan.
Boy, his numbers are
really
at the
good.
top of the league.
I know it. It's crazy.
I know it. He's got those great numbers, but look at the won and loss record of the Minnesota Vikings or their performance on the field.
Well, he had them in the playoffs last year, and their defense this year was horrible.
Horrible.
It was horrible. And so, to put all these losses of the Vikings on Kirk Cousins is I think
I'm not doing
unfair.
that. He's got Dalvin Cook back there. I mean, he's
all the more reason he should be okay.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Is that how many times have I fallen into this over the years? I've always expected great things from the Vikings, and it's always unsatisfying.
Well, you're talking to a Bears fan, man.
Yeah,
I don't feel sorry for you one bit.
Let's talk about Trubinsky a minute because he's looked awful again.
No, he didn't.
No,
he looked awful. He wasn't. He could have had a 1st and 10 a couple of times if he'd have just sacrificed his body, and he didn't. He ran out of bounds.
As a general statement, his second half of the season was good.
Yeah,
he really did play
after they benched him and then he brought him back in.
Right.
Yeah,
and he had a couple turnovers. Oh, he's not perfect, but you know what? He got him into the playoffs
behind a bad offensive line.
Yeah,
but the latest coming
Who
out
wasn't in the playoffs this year anyway? This is such a weird year. I can't even keep track.
I thought it was more fun. I think they should do it every year like that.
I do too. But the latest coming out of Chicago is that it sounds like they're gonna dump him.
Yeah,
I think so too. Yeah,
and the article I read said it's good for both the Bears and for Trubisky. He needs to get out of there and get with another team, and I think he's got some real potential. I think the problem Trubisky has is he is reading the defense and finding the open receivers. I think talent-wise, arm strength, arm talent,
got a good arm
and legs, very good legs.
Great legs.
But his ability to read that defense and make the right decision to where do I throw the ball, he's probably pretty mediocre, that if not even below average. And I think that drives Nagy crazy.
Well, it drives Chicago crazy too. Chicago's a big sports town.
Oh, yeah.
They love football, basketball, even the Blackhawks they love. I mean,
Sure.
they're just crazy.
They wouldn't know what to do with a good quarterback in Chicago. They haven't had one.
Billy
since,
Wade.
Yeah. No, Billy Wade wasn't that good,
That's
I didn't
true.
think.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I was going to go beyond that. I kid you not. I've never seen
Bobby
a franchise-
Douglas.
No, he was,
Yeah.
but yeah, they've never. People say, well, Jim McMahon. Jim McMahon really wasn't a very good quarterback,
He's
but he's a
average.
great leader.
Yeah, it was
And
And that was a great team.
Yeah.
Walter, I still think Walter Payton's the greatest player that ever.
I'm a big Walter Payton fan myself. But
I mean, as far as the offense is concerned, in Butkus is in line for the greatest defensive player in my mind. Those were back in the days.
oh yeah,
Butkus.
yeah.
Butkus.
So who you picking, Neven, to win the Super Bowl? Win it all?
Oh,
You going with Kansas City again, or are you?
I mean, I think Kansas City obviously is the favorite.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to pick against them, but I kind of like the Pack.
I do too.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I do too.
I was listening to you earlier talk, and I thought, why are they overlooking the Pack? Aaron Rodgers is
Oh man,
big time.
he really is having a
Now,
great
if
year.
they can, and this will be maybe his biggest test, frankly. The Rams, if they're
They
healthy,
got a good defense.
they got a really good defense, great defensive line, and they've got the best defensive back in football. Ramsey.
Yeah.
And he's going to be paired up against Devontae Adams, who's the best receiver in football. And I'm really curious to watch that. Now, I've watched Ramsey all year, and he's won against all these studs. He's won every battle. He is really something special.
Yeah,
that
you
guy.
might see a guy like Lazard have a big game.
You might.
Because
I really can't believe Rodgers. I'm impressed. I mean, that guy's
Oh.
36, 37
Yeah.
years old. He's later in his career, and you can't hurt him. I mean, he takes terrible shots and just gets up like, hey, nothing else going on.
But you talk about a guy that understands the offense, reads the defense, And then his accuracy is just off the chart.
It is.
Yeah,
Just-
and he's very he makes it look way too
Oh,
easy.
he does.
He really it's not as easy as it appears to be when he's back there, you
Yeah.
know. He's impressive, but I think his most impressive trait is the fact that he'll be hosting Jeopardy.
Yeah,
That
yes,
is
host,
something.
yeah.
I did hear that. Yeah. Him and some other well-known people will be hosting.
That's pretty
I
funny.
got to tune in when he's on. You know, I really
Yeah.
do. All right, let's talk St. Edmunds here just a little
No,
bit.
I got one other one
All
for you
right.
for football.
All right.
Because I think this is huge, is that the most anticipated, starting now until next year, Iowa State football game
Oh,
will
man.
it's going to be a hoot.
Wow.
And I'm so happy to
Will that
see
be
it.
at Iowa or Iowa
It's in
State?
Ames.
So Iowa lost
Yeah.
their,
Yeah. They go
man.
back to Ames. And, you know, the Cyclones got everybody coming back. Charlie Kohler's coming back. I mean,
Oh,
this is the
everybody.
team of teams. Most importantly, Campbell will be back. And
Yeah.
Iowa
Oh.
is not a bunch of pikers.
No.
I keep trying to tell my Iowa State friends, I say, guys, Iowa's, yeah, but I'm telling you, now they lost. I would have loved seeing the game this year. Losing Nixon and
Yeah.
Golson.
Golston,
Excuse me.
yeah, Golston.
That defensive line. But still, that will be a heck of a game.
Yeah.
That'll be fun
Mm-hmm.
because both teams are going to come into that game loaded,
both
and-
rated.
high expectations. And we just haven't had that type of a matchup, you know,
Not for a while.
forever, it seems like. But yeah, certainly for a
Yeah,
while.
for a long time because Iowa State hasn't been this good in a
Well,
long time.
Paul Rhodes had a couple of good years.
Nothing
against
like
the
this
Hawkeyes.
team.
Well, he beat the Hawks there, but, you know, yeah, they weren't that good. And
No.
Iowa laid an
But he
egg.
beat the Hawkeyes.
He beat the
which was
Hawk. That's
big
what I
in
said. But this time, Iowa State will be favored.
You think
And-
so?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. They're in the preseason top 10 after last week. They're like number 8 in the country,
Right.
and deservedly so.
What about the Hawkeye quarterback? I mean,
He'll have another year under his
back.
belt.
He's back. And, you know, he got better as the season went on, to his credit, and hopefully that'll continue. And we'll see what happens. They lose one running back. The other Gibson's coming back. They're trying to land a big recruit. This recruit thing going on right now.
Oh,
This
that's really kind of interesting.
kid from Arizona that both Iowa and Iowa State want, and he's narrowed it down to Iowa and Iowa State.
And he's visiting this weekend,
Yeah.
and none of the coaches can talk to him
Right.
because of COVID. So it's his own visit. So each team has guys walking him around campus and recruiting him, players on
Yeah.
the team. So
Yeah,
I think it'll be
So that Iowa State football game is actually starting this weekend.
Yeah.
with that recruit. Yeah.
Well, hopefully they get the recruit. And, do we have a date of retirement for Kirk yet or not? Because he's 67. He's in the late 60s. And
No,
He's 65.
66.
66.
is that,
maybe.
You say
is that all?
That's young, Mike. You know that.
You know, I'll be honest with you, Mike. This might have been his best coaching job of his 22 years in Iowa City this year. I mean, he
Yeah.
took a team with a lot of holes in it and a new quarterback and no spring practice, all this kind of stuff. And they went.
Well, you're missing the biggest factor were all the distractions.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Significant distractions, with the lawsuit and the claims of, unfair treatment and
Racism
what have
and all
you.
that
And
stuff. Yeah.
firing Doyle, having to cut him loose.
Yep.
And yet keeping this team, which is obviously it's a mixture of white players and black players on task and bringing them together as a unit, as a team. That's what amazes me and impresses me. And they've recruited pretty well.
Yeah.
Through all of this. I give him
which
some
is
credit.
amazing, really.
Yeah, it really is.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, those lawsuits are just sounding like harassment to me anymore. I mean, some of the players didn't get to play enough, so we're going to sue or something. I don't.
Yeah, it's been a great year. I mean, and probably I think what you're speaking to is really Ferentz's leadership, being able to pull that ship together and keep it going.
That's
in
what
the
a
right
head coach has
direction.
got to do. Primarily, a head coach leads, organizes, and leads. And you lead by a variety of ways.
Right.
One of most importantly is example and communication and credibility. And I think apparently the players find him to be very credible.
Right.
Through all this.
Right. And their two losses, which are their first two games, were a total of 5 points.
Mm-hmm.
So they were 5 points away from going undefeated this year. Plus, they got gypped out of the Michigan game, which they would have clobbered Michigan, who's horrible this year.
But they did have they had a pretty favorable schedule.
Okay.
I mean, who they did.
We only have about a minute left.
All right.
But Harbaugh's record at Michigan is terrible.
They just extended it.
And that's the question I was leading up to. Why?
Just recruiting. I think they extend. I think I heard that they cut back on his buyout. So I think he's still set up to get fired. But they extend him. They extend him 5 years so they can recruit. I think that's
what it's about is recruiting. And by the way, they're in no financial position to cut him loose. With the pandemic, you got to either be Texas or Nebraska, to be cutting people loose right now because all these athletic departments are bleeding red ink.
Exactly.
Why Texas and Nebraska?
Because they've got a ton of money.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You don't think so?
I don't know.
Oh, or somebody like
Ohio
Alabama
State.
and the Southeast Conference schools. I guess I'd throw in there. Oh yeah.
All right. Okay. We got to go. Randy Coleman, Neven Mulholland is here. We're talking sports. We'll be back.
Michael Devine, the doctor of truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
That AM 1400 KVFD.
It's 4:31. The news is next.
Thinking about life insurance? What if you could make one free phone call and learn your best price from nearly a dozen highly rated, price competitive companies? Well, that's exactly what happens when you call SelectQuote Life. For example, George is 40. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $25 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino. And believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-573-9552. That's 800-573-9552. 800-573-9552. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at selectquote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Whether you're a pro on the job site or managing properties, clean and safe is your number one priority. And Lowe's has the pro-grade cleaning supplies you need. We go beyond the basics, bringing you commercial cleaning from top brands like Clorox, Zep, and Rubbermaid, and in larger sizes so you can take on any cleaning job knowing you have the quantity you need. Shop Lowe's for